What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with the man Eric Sheets Haber, and we haven't done a golf show together in a little while here. So we've got another week of golf coming up. It's maybe not the most star-studded slate you've ever seen in your life, but it's certainly going to give us some options, have some fun. And by the way, during a little bit of my baseball slump, golf has been good to me, although I didn't play last week. So I'm going to get a little bit involved this week. Sheets, do you have any overall thoughts you can sort of break down for us while I load up our baseball video?
What is going on? Hope you're all having
yeah. First of all, I do think that I'm very glad that I play like all the sports. Okay, because number one, it keeps my brain moving. I think there's a certain each sport takes on its own character as far as how you have to play. So it helps me learn a little bit better. And you can get very frustrated playing a certain sport. You just can. So for me, I just kind of like doing that. And that's one of the reasons I got into golf. When I didn't want to play golf, I said, let me play golf. And then I'm like, ooh, let me play this. Ooh, let me play that. And I just really just enjoy it. And last week we did not. Well, there was a slate, but it was the Ryder Cup slate with the match play and stuff like that, which was fun to watch, but not exactly the most DFS friendly format. So I am glad that we're back. And what's interesting is during these kind of what they call them, swings tournaments or whatever, it's when kind of like the better players just kind of take time off or whatever before it gets rolling. So you have these situations where players who, let's face it, were previously 6,200, right, are now 10,000. So you have to just put that aside. You have to. And I know it's hard to play. Let's just say you liked. I'll use Sam Burns as an example or whatever. Or let's say you liked Sam Burns. Oh my God, why would I play him at 11,000 when I was playing with 6,800? Just remember, all this is relative to the rest of the slate. Don't fall in love with golfers. Just each slate, each spot is different. Now, with that said, you can just scale down and just look down at some of these names and say, boy, oh boy, I can get this guy at a relative price to this other guy that makes no sense. So you can kind of play that way also. I'm still going to just, normally rely on my models and my projections and all that stuff. But you can just go look down and say, I'm getting like Matt Neesmith, for example. Like I'm just throwing him out there. I mean, I remember playing him at pretty much the same price against like the best golfers in the world, right? And now when you're playing him at the same price against a weak field, you get just some decent relative value there. And again, I don't particularly like Matthew Neesmith, but that's just kind of the point that I want to make. Mm-hmm. With respect to the actual slate, no particular, approach aside from any other DFS slate. I'm just kind of ready to get into it.
All right, well, let's do it. Why don't you got your screen up there? So let's start off with the tiers and we'll finish up with our game of taking our players. By the way, I think that's sort of what I rely on mostly for my main builds, and it's worked out really, really well. So
let me tell you something, just to kind of throw it out there, is again, when I first started playing DFS, I listened to the what was then the Roto Grinders morning grind every single day. Okay, for was it basketball? Basketball. And that's when what's his name was still on it. What's my problem? Siege was still on it, right? And he was doing it with Steve or whatever it is. And I would sort of pay attention. And then at the end, they would do like their morning grind game. They said their best plays, this. And I'm like, okay, that's all I really paid attention to, right? Like I wanted to make sure to get some of that. And it's interesting, and what I do is exactly what you just said. When we sum it up at the end, if I didn't think of playing a guy, I'm totally going to play some of it, yeah, I'm ready to go. We have some good hoodoos that we're going to come to later that are going to maybe surprise people. So let's just start with the above 10K range. What do you like over here?
I think the chalk and what I like the most are probably Zalatoris and Connors. Unfortunately, that does just seem to be the better plays to me, but I am going to be happy to play Burns. I don't buy the ownership projections I'm seeing on him. I think this is one of those spots where he's projected to be a lot higher owned than he ends up personally. But I like Zalatoris and Connors probably the best with him, and Burns as my other guys. I'm not going to be playing any Sergio this week.
I actually only have, and I'm pretty good with this stuff. I actually right now only have Burns at about 12%. But it does need to have one more update. Everybody I have right now is getting a little lower than they're going to be. I'm just letting you guys know I am going to do an update like maybe in a couple hours. Mm-hmm. So when I see 12%, it's probably going to end up being probably closer to 15, whatever. But I don't like him. My top of these guys, like you said, are the top owned. So Corey Connors, and then actually I like Sungjae Im second. I haven't played him in a long time, but I like him next. So for me, it's Connors and then Sungjae Im. I would love to get away from both of them at 20% plus ownership, but like you said, they are just kind of like some of the best plays. And like my best plays are like all cheapos. So I'm gonna need to get upside fantasy points somewhere, right?
Right.
So 10K range and up, it's going to be Connors and Im as my top plays. Actually,
That makes sense to me. How about in the? Well, I guess I'll start it off with the next range. So I have a couple guys who are a little bit less on the board. First of all, I am gonna keep playing Siwoo Kim at 0 ownership. This guy, if we just played him every week. By the way, you almost won the big tournament with him
with a 0.
15.
With a 0.
Well, he actually had some decent scores. That was the weird part. He just had a plus 15. He had an 8 over on one hole.
Yeah.
But I like Siwoo as a low owned option in this next tier. I think that he's the one who stands out there. He's going to be the lowest owned probably as well. So I've got my next tier as Siwoo, and then I've got a little bit of chalk with it, with Mito Pereira and Charlie Hoffman down at the bottom, sort of debating what to do with Tringale and Munoz, who I think are mildly interesting.
Yeah, for me, my top, the guys I mentioned in the 9K range are pretty chalky as well. It would be Hoffman as my top guy. He just always, everybody's model just always loves Charlie Hoffman.
That's true.
It's him and Daniel Berger every freaking week. You know what I mean? Like these guys just, and they frustrate you a little bit because it doesn't seem like they could ever actually win, but they usually play well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like actually Cameron Davis above 9K as well. So those are my top two. I seem to have just missed out on the Mito Pereira successes. I just don't ever get to him, and I just always give. Why don't I have him again? And so that's where I'm at with the Mito Pereira. I'm probably going to miss him again today, but he's certainly no disputing how well he's been playing. But for me, it's going to be Hoffman and Cam Davis.
I like it. Why don't you start off the next range for us?
Yep. I only have 2 guys in the 8K range. Well, 3 guys in the top 20 as far as I'm ranking in the 8K range. Number 1, we'll go right back to the general at 8,200, Pat Kazire.
Mm-hmm.
Then we like, here's a guy I haven't played in a while. Aaron Wise, he's 8,300, and does better in these types of tournaments. Everybody does better in these types of tournaments, but him specifically. He's going to get owned a little bit, I think, also. So anyway, I like him. And then, look at this. I haven't played this guy in a while. I haven't played Carlos Ortiz in a while. So I like him a little bit. So Carlos Ortiz, Aaron Wise, and Patton Kazire.
You named 2 of my guys there. I really like Ortiz and Kazire both, and I am going to be way heavy on the Matt Wolff this week.
I like that.
I'm just going for the talent level, and I don't really care about anything else. Especially with the time off for these guys. Last time he had time off, he bounced back and played really, really well. And I think we're going to see something like that out of him. The guy who's going to get the least ownership, or two least guys, look, I just don't know if my heart has it in me to play Grillo ever again. I just can't do it, man. This guy, so many times I end up with these 5 of 6s that are one of the best 3 5 of 6s around. And then I end up with the one guy who I miss is always freaking Grillo. But I would say that I'll put all that aside and say that I think he's reasonable. And I really like Gary Woodland as a long shot option. I just think that, at no ownership, when he's on, he's probably a better golfer than almost everybody else in this range is, other than maybe Matt Wolff. If you take it, course it over the past couple of years or a few years, I know he's sort of hit and miss, but I think Woodland is kind of an interesting low owned option. And the last one I'm going to mention, just because he's let everybody down and because of it, he's going to be completely unowned, is Doug Gim at the bottom of the 8K range.
Okay.
But
so here we go. So here's my speech about the 7K range. So of my top 10 golfers, there's I think 7 of them or 6 of them are in the 7K range, and one of them I just refuse to play ever again. But I'll just tell you who it is. So guy who ranks like 6th or 7th for me is Lanto Griffin. I'm kind of done with him. That's the best I can describe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy duty analytics for you. So my top golfer so I'll just give you the history of this. So I ran my projections, I ran my miles, I did it a second and third time. Then I ran like test builds and I got literally 100% of this guy. And then I said, okay, let me just see if like maybe there's a standard deviation issue. Like if one projection model is just like over loving him, you know what I mean? That's going to skew everything. And that wasn't the case either. And then I'm like, okay, maybe the ownership is just going to be just through the roof. And so far, it doesn't look like it. But just because, again, I just know myself. And if I'm getting to this, then everybody just has to get to this. I have no idea who this guy is. I mean, I looked at him. He's obviously some Korn Ferry Tour genius. But I have like almost 100% Taylor Moore for some reason.
Okay.
So I have him at 8% ownership. I'm gonna announce right now that he's gonna be 15%. Just based on everything that I just said. I have no idea what, why, or whatever. I mean, if you look at his logs, I mean, he basically is in the top 5 of every tournament on the Korn Ferry Tour, I guess. So I guess people know who he is. And the other guy I like, who's basically the same guy, is Chad Ramey. Another guy I never heard of. But so both these guys are my top 7K guys. Then guys that we played before, who I like, are Matt Wallace. I like him at 7,100. My old friend Chris Kirk at 7,500. And then a guy who we played a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, Taylor Pendrick. He's another kind of like either Euro or KFT guy. And then a guy who I haven't played in a while. Like, seems so less sexy than some of these other guys, but Joel Damon. I like him a little bit as well. And the last guy, again, I'd rather not play, but whatever, Lucas Glover. So just to reiterate, Taylor Moore and Chad Ramey, parentheses, whoever they are the top of my list. Then there's Matt Wallace, Chris Kirk, Damon, Pendrick, Lanto, who I'm over, and Lucas Glover.
I like it. I like when you come up with the guys that we don't know as well. I'll have to dig a little bit further into them, but I think that those guys are interesting enough. I did look a little bit at it. I have Chris Kirk as a preferred play for me for sure. I think that he's my favorite play in this range. I like Patrick Rogers. He's going to have a little bit more ownership. My off the board guy is going to be KH Lee. Feel like there's always 0% ownership on this guy, and I actually think he's a better golfer than a number of the guys above him. The one I'm sort of struggling with, who I initially thought I was going to be playing a ton of, is Chez Reavie. I'm not sure whether I'm going to end up there, but he is a guy who's showing up for me right now. And that's pretty much most of the guys. And I like most of the guys you mentioned, so I didn't really have anybody else to add. Oh, Matt Wallace, you said also I like a lot. Wallace and Kirk, I always feel like they end up in the same range, and they always end up in my lineups. What about when we do we need to get down? And I know Ramey's gonna have some ownership, by the way, too. But I actually like that play too. Another guy I know and I respect a lot about golf had already talked about him. So
is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So I was interested in that play. So down in the 6K range, it's quote if we need it.
I got one I just got one.
Who is it?
I got one guy. Before I give you that to you, I wanted to backtrack for a second, just because I just didn't see him on my list. You mentioned him. I do second and approve the Gary Woodland. I like that actually. Nice. He's actually right between. He's right under Aaron Wise and above Ortiz. I don't know why I missed him. So I do have him projected well. All right. So the one guy I have under 7K is, of course, Anarban Lahiri.
Okay. Actually,
at 6,200.
Okay.
So don't play the wrong one. Don't do Luis Garcia or Bogdan Bogdan. Don't play the wrong Anarban Lahiri. Make sure you do play the one that's in the 6,200.
Okay, I can get behind that, I guess.
Not me. I don't want to get behind it.
I'm just thinking,
but that's the one guy I have in the 7K, in the sub 7K range. If you need it, if you feel like it.
Yeah. The guys who showed up for me are Nick Hardy and Adam Schenk.
Okay.
But I didn't have anything. And then I swear, just because sometimes when you put it out into the universe, I swear these things happen way too much. I'm just gonna have to throw one Neesmith lineup in just because you wanted him to start the show. As an example, but I like the idea. This is not, I think I've had enough with the John Huh thing, and of course that means he probably goes out there and comes in the top 5 or something. But the one other one who I was debating on is Doc Redman. I feel like there's some upside for him at 6,500. So those are the guys for me.
The one guy again that I was going to play, who when I do this sometimes, I look at the salaries and I look at projections to see what I like. Sam Ryder is 6,700. He was like competing for a win at some point the last year.
Yep.
So he would be another guy I would flick in for the universe, a universe play, like you would say.
Okay. I got it. All right. So let's go through and pick it. So who's gonna win this tournament?
Yeah. I think let's I'm gonna go with someone who is, boy oh boy, he just never wins. But I'm gonna give it to him. I'll root for Sungjae In. How about that?
Okay, I like. It's not that he's right there all the time. All right, Sungjae I can get by. I'll just take Zalatoris. I do like Corey Connors quite a bit as well. Those guys are close, but I think Zalatoris is where I want to end up.
Who under 10K is going to make the top 5?
So in the 9K range, I'm probably going to go with here, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Siwoo Kim.
I'm going to go with I'll go with the hot. I'll try a hot putter. I'll go with let's go Cam Davis.
Okay. Cam Davis. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Can't do Hoffman. I just can't do. He'll get 9th. You know what I mean? I can't do Hoffman.
All right.
Well, speaking of 9th, who under 9K is going to get 10th or better?
I'll take him before you get a chance to. Well, the truth is, now I have a lot of love for both these guys. So why don't you go first on this one? Because you're not going to pick one of them. Just in case you do, I don't know.
Okay, so I will. Since you gave him to me, I will take Kazire.
Okay, that's who I was going to say. Yeah. And the other guy, I will take Matt Wolff.
Who, Matt Wolff? Okay. Yeah. Matt Wolff is going to be like, that's going to win the GPP because no one's going to play him, and in this tournament he can win.
He can win every tournament. This guy is. I'm serious. Like, as long as he's not priced at the very top, I'm gonna always just keep playing him. I don't care. I'll deal with the long-term results. He's good. He's a better golfer. By the way, speaking of good golfers, guys, we didn't mention, Brendan Todd is going to be 0.1% owned and probably is a better golfer than most of the guys who were going to play over him, but just throwing that out there. All right, down in the 7K range, Sheets, you've got 7 million picks to choose from. Who are you going to roll with? I think I know.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go with the Taylor.
For which one?
Let's go with Taylor Moore.
Taylor Moore. That's what I thought you were going to say. All right, I am going to say down in this range. Chris Kirk.
And just to reiterate, if you have to pick one sub 7K guy to make the cut, you know what I'm going to do to make the cut? I'm going to go with the guy that you said because Shank is kind of like a cut maker type of play. So I think that's actually pretty the responsible thing to do.
Okay, I'm going to go out and say Doc Redman, even though I could say Hardy just as easily. Those are the two guys who I was looking at.
All right, I got one more. Just because I got one more sub 7K, just because I want to try to pronounce his name. Okay, I'll look at this. At 6,500, I want to play. There's no way to pronounce this way, but I'm gonna guess even though it doesn't spell this way, I'm gonna guess that you pronounce his first name Davy. It's Dawie Vanderwalt. Dawie Vanderwalt at 6,500. South Africa to make the cut.
All right, I like it. All right, guys.
We can't put any more plays out in the universe because we can't play everybody.
Exactly. Well, guys, I hope we crush it this week. Good luck to everybody out there. Let's have a big week at PGA. Let's have a big week to finish the MLB season, and then we'll have football to focus on. And then in a few weeks, we've got basketball back and all the stress that comes with it, but also the money that comes with it. So
actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to announce this right now. I'm telling you, I'm in sort of interesting mode right now with the way I'm playing. So what I'm going to do in golf, I'm just letting you guys know, I'm going to be playing 20 lineups in the lottery, whatever it is. And what I'm going to do is I am literally going to include in my player pool only the guys that we mentioned today.
Mm-hmm.
and shuffle them. I'm going to make sure to get at least, like, no golfer is going to have 0. Everybody's going to get at least 1. And that's going to be and I'm going to run it with my projections through either Roto Grinders, HQ, or Saber Sim, and those are going to be much fun.
I love it.
I'll hand pick whatever it is, but that's going to be much fun.
I will do the same, but I'm going to hand build them.
Yep.
And good luck to both of us. Good luck to all you guys out there, for True DFS, for Bobby at True DFS, for Sheets, for everybody. Good luck, and hopefully we'll see you guys at the top of the leaderboards. Good luck, everybody.
All right.